All right, track number two, take number two rather. Trimester 3, week 5. This is the performance rubric for the whole tone scales that we are performing this week. We're performing 2 of them, one in C, the other in C sharp. We're performing 2 ascendings in piano as a baseline, and then we're playing 2 descending versions of the same scale with clarinet 1 octave above as a complementary line. So it's kind of a call and response. The bass is calling out ascending, and then the clarinet is going to respond in a descending manner 1 octave above. The bass is going to call out the next whole tone scale. We're playing 2 again, and then the clarinet is going to respond in a descending manner to it. So this is what it sounds like. And if that sounds familiar to you, it should, because it is very similar to something we did in trimester 2, week 2, with regard to the major second interval, and that's what a whole tone is, a whole step. So to make things confusing, which we do all the time in music, we're using similar terms there. In this case, we were using whole notes in the artwork, which was incorrect because it was 6/8 time. And that was why I crossed off the 6/8 to say, hey, this art is just showing the note value, not the time value, the note's pitch, its placement there. So to create this week's work, we're going to give ourselves a fresh, clean slate at tabula rasa. Main categories, keyboards, classical, grand, always. Nothing changes there week to week in that regard, usually as our foundations. Scrolling, make sure we're down here rooted in C2. We have to make sure this week that our tempo is 54 beats per minute. There's 54, and we want to make sure that we're at 6/8, 6/8. And the way we're playing this is we're alternating and giving space for the other part. So as we're performing, we're starting out with waiting, and then so the first 3 white keys you're using are the C, the D, and the E, and then you're jumping up to the black keys for these 3. And then you're taking these 2 black keys, and then the balance of the 4 white keys that you hadn't used. And this is the ascending version, and this is the piano bass part right now that we're doing first. We're also giving space in between each performance to leave room for the clarinet to respond. So the bass is the call, the clarinet is the response. And the clarinet is descending, whereas the bass is ascending in the same scale. Here we go. Giving space. Giving space. And incidental little mistakes like that are totally okay. And we have a really good take there, and that works just fine. And so now we have piano squared away, and now what we have to find is clarinet. And clarinet, from main categories, I believe we go into other. There's where we find our clarinet. Clarice. No. All right. Now, for the clarinet, again, we want to scroll ourselves down so that we are finishing up here in C. That's where we want to finish. So again, this time with the clarinet, we're doing the reverse order. So we're descending. So we're starting, then space for the other part, and then starting from the B. So the 3 black keys first, to the 3 white keys, then the 4 white keys. So think of it that way in terms of those sorts of performance patterns, as opposed to so much the heavy theory stuff behind it. Think of it more about the athletics of jumping with your fingers than anything else about notation so much. Okay? And so, again, call and response. We're going to wait for the bass part, and then we're going to respond to it. And that is your week 5 performance work. Have a terrific day. And if you have any questions, holler.